That's my way. I don't ever know the song, but it's okay because I love to sing, right? And I'm doing things that bring me joy. Anyway, this is the Good Girl Podcast. The Good Girl Podcast is a podcast that is redefining what it means to be good through uncomfortable truths. I call those uncomfortable truths confessions. So every week we have someone on sharing a confession. And this is week 3 or 3 of 3 of the marriage confession series. We've already had 2 on. If you haven't heard those, go back and listen. They are good. People are giving out gems, giving some wisdom when it comes to marriage and when it comes to being in a relationship with people for a long time, right? And really how to have healthy relationships. But y'all, I'm on a high. I'm gonna get to this third confession, but I'm on a high because we got our Spotify Wrap, right? And obviously the United States is our number 1 base of listenership, right? But number 2, shout out to the UK. If you're across the pond, let me hear you make some noise. I wish I was in a large auditorium and I could be like, everybody on the left, let me hear you. That's how I feel. And then that was number 2. And then number 3, shout out to South Africa. What up, y'all? What up? I need to get over there. So shout out to y'all. Thank you for supporting the Good Girl Podcast. We would not be where we are if it wasn't for your support, if it wasn't for your listenership, if it wasn't for you sharing the podcast. So shout out to y'all. Applause to y'all. Also, our followers were up 47%. That means we nearly doubled our followers, but this is specific to Spotify. So just shout out to you. Give yourselves a round of applause. Thank you for being a part of the Good family. And now we're gonna hop into this week's confession. Listen up though. Do you own a business? Do you have a product you're trying to sell? Is there something you want to get in front of our faithful listeners? I know you do. The Good Girl Podcast would be happy to partner with you to help grow your business. Just as you are hearing my voice right now, I could be sharing about your great new product. So if you're interested in the unique ways the Good Girl Podcast can consistently increase your sales, let me know. Slide in my DM on Instagram or send an email to info@goodgirlradio.com. Again, that email address is info@goodgirlradio.com. So are you ready for this confession? As always, you have to get to know or learn a little bit about who we're talking to first. I think it always gives the confession greater context. So listen up. Also, don't forget, real quick, don't forget, we will begin sending out text messages to those who choose, if you want a reminder of when the show is out, right? And we just kind of want to secure our base, because if Instagram goes down, what if Facebook ceased to exist? I know y'all are talking about the metaverse, all that, but we just want to make sure we can get to y'all, right? Those who want to be gotten to. So, if you're on Instagram, you can just click the link in our bio and drop your cell phone. It's right there. Click the link in our bio and drop your cell phone number in there, and we will text you when a show is out. And all you gotta do is go boom, bam, boom, boom. Listen, that easy. So now let's listen to who we're hearing from this week. Aqeel Ash-Shakoor.
My name means wise and intelligent. By no means am I saying that to a degree of what I am, but what I'm concerned with living up to.
A man of many talents, ranging from a former police officer to a prison chaplain to a pastor.
I honestly can say I probably don't really balance it. I just do what I call is just being me. I just love people.
Aqeel also served in the Gulf War, which had a lasting effect on his life. He was eventually diagnosed with PTSD.
I just turned 20 years old when the war kicked off, and here I am in this formation. And I was like, I didn't sign up for this. Like, you mean like war on TV? Like this stuff we seen, like World War I? Like what? Like, no, I didn't sign up for this. Like, I went in because I thought this was going to lead to this. I didn't take my football scholarship. So I'm just like, we going to war?
Fortunately, Aqeel was able to leverage his trauma into something new, acting.
And it's been great. So a lot of times, and I'll end here about people, asking me, it's like, so how are you able to express these emotions and these faces? And I'm just like, you don't want to know the training that I've been through to get that. That's not about acting class. That's about, I'm finally getting to express through the different characters these things that I've dealt with in real life.
He's been a lead actor in feature films like Turn of the Cheek and Cain and Abel, and most recently on the NBC drama Chicago Med. Now that you know a little bit about who we talking to, we can hop into this confession. This is how I'm gonna get my singing out, right? I know it's not my ministry. I know that. Y'all ain't gotta tell me, but I love it. But anyway, here we go. Let's listen. Oh, wait. Before I'm not playing with y'all. I'm not trying to be silly. Make sure you're following us on Instagram, right? I love to share more of myself. I love to share other confessions that may not necessarily make it onto the podcast, or maybe they're coming, right? Or maybe we can talk about some of the confessions that were shared here on the podcast. So make sure you are following us on Instagram. And also, we like to hear from y'all, right? Because you could give us a topic, right? I like to peruse the webs. So you can always slide in our DMs. And it is at Good Girl Podcast as it is spelled. So here we go. Listen up to this confession. All right, Aqeel, I'm so excited to have you on the Good Girl Podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
I'm excited to have you. I'm excited about your confession. I know we talked a little bit about who you are and what you do, and I think that is going to add so much value to what you're going to talk. This I'm gonna call it a spicy topic. I don't know if it's really. I feel like it's spicy. You feel like it's spicy?
You'll get me in trouble. That word right there, spicy. Like, what are they about to talk about? Like, where his wife at? Yeah. It's like...
And so, but before we hop into this, we had a conversation earlier about the topic. And I was, I'm all about being truthful, like raw, honest, gutted truth. And you called me right out. You was like, Kimmy, we're going to have a real conversation or what?
Real conversation. Like, yeah. Look, we're going to take time out. Let's have this is Good Girl Radio. Let's be good about this. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm excited to have you. I think you will definitely keep me on my toes with this topic.
I will, yeah.
So I typically start out like, what is your confession when it comes to sex and marriage? That is what we're talking about. The truth about sex and marriage. So I know you have a backstory, but let's hear the confession first, and then we'll back into it.
The confession, I think, was more so what we initially talked about when we talked about happiness. And it's just that for a blanket, I just say sex in marriages is not what people think, good or bad. I think that there hasn't been enough truth about it, especially like from the Christian world. Mm-hmm. I think that we are free when we're just being worldly, but I think that when it really comes to people that need help, that are in marriages and that are seeking to live life right, we got to break down these misnomers and these lies that we've been hearing, or just the precepts or the concepts that we believe that everybody is happy with sex in marriage.
Yeah.
And allow me, and let me apologize to everybody now. I may use some words that are what we know now, words that we might not use on camera, but I just want to this is because I think that we don't understand this. And it's like, we just got to be real in marriages, because there may be words that turn us on. There may be words that turn us off, And so what I'm praying out of this is that it's more therapy for us, more therapy for all marriages, not just Christian marriages, but in totality, in an understanding. And let's just, God, I hate that little phrase, keeping it real, but really diving into some serious topics between husband and wives, and in sex, period.
Yeah. And so I want to share how we got here, right?
Yes.
Why did I choose you to have this conversation, right? One, because I know I've known you for a while and you've always been honest, you've always been straightforward, but I also understand some of the layers of you, right? And I feel like you're very authentic and transparent. But when I say share how we got here, I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine and we were talking about life, and she began to share with me a revelation she had more so about herself. And she said that, she was having medical issues and it caused
Right.
her not to be able to have sex with her husband like she liked. Give whatever she wanted to give to her husband when it came to sex like she liked. And she then began to share, like, I even offered him, like, hey, since I can't do this for you because I'm in this position, how about you go and you find somebody else? Because I know you got needs. You find someone else. Just don't bring no baby or no disease back, right? And the response of that husband, and clearly y'all know who I'm talking about. The husband was like, excuse me?
Right.
Like, who do you think you were angry. And you were upset that she would even ask you to do that.
You don't even get the right to even bring that option to me about inviting somebody else in. That's so wrong. Because now what you said is I don't love you enough to be here with you and understand what you're going through. That's what I heard. It's like, wait a minute. So you gave up on me. So what would have happened if I had just went out there and did that with no warning? It wouldn't have been received the same way, right? You see what I'm saying?
It's so interesting when you hear the dynamics, right, of what you heard versus what she said or even what she meant, right? Because I think we can say something and you really feel you feel what is behind that, right? And when I say that, I could see why women do that. Like, let me accept what is going to happen, and then the what is going to happen for you is like you think less of me. You think that I'm not your ride or die through this. You think that I don't have the love for you through this. It's unfortunate when I think about just how much society affects our expectations in relationships.
But see that, gosh, go ahead. I'm sorry. No, it's just that's what gets me. It's like we're not bypassing that you have medical problems. We're not bypassing that you're tired or anything. I'm not saying you have to swing from a lamp. I'm not saying you got a pee pop all the time. I'm just saying. I mean, we're just being clear. I was just being clear about that. Right. We every now and then, though, like you say, hey, see, I just think that here's that part where I said we're just not real in our conversations about this, but you don't get the slack. You don't, me bringing my sloppy game to you all the time. Okay, I don't rub feet. I don't kiss necks. I don't nibble on ears. I don't buy flowers. Come on, you're not turned on by me by slacking. So why would I be, and then it goes, and then here's the other narrative. Oh, that's totally different though. That doesn't require, no, it's not. No, it's not. You want to be flown all around the world on these romantic vacations with no romance.
And I want to just for clarity purposes in terms of what you're saying, you're not saying, how about no? Let me say it like this.
Just say it. Just say it.
Because what I think some people could be hearing is that, oh well, she needs to push through it and figure out how to serve you.
No. I'm saying we both. Here's that word that when we talked about. It's both of our duty. It's our duty to give to each other. That doesn't mean that if you have a medical, I mean, come on. No, somebody that has cancer is not going to perform the same way as they didn't have cancer. But you don't have time to fall down on your post and be feeling pity for yourself when we're in this together. Because if I'm supporting you, then I still need you to support me. There's a lot to be with somebody and to when we're at, let's just take it off the man, because I know a lot of times it goes down to the woman, it's all about the man stepping out because he's not getting pleased. And that's a terrible narrative too, because it happens on both sides. So As we talked about, let's just keep it clear. There's a certain age that a man reaches and he won't be able to perform just like the woman may still. And so we will face that reality. But guess what? There's medical help for that situation.
Take that blue pill.
That blue pill, okay? Or whatever that other color pill is. Everybody see. And you know what's crazy is we laugh about it, but everybody seems to know what the blue pill is. And it's like, I even wonder sometimes, it's like, well, how many people are you actually using the blue pill?
Yeah.
And then if I've been in information sites because I'm what they call a filament. I love learning, and so I need to, I'm saying to myself early on, I was saying to myself, I'm gonna need to know these things too. Come down to this. Okay, well, you got to step your game up. I knew you can't last forever. Running backs don't, running backs say star running backs all the time. So, okay, what do I got to do? I got to learn to train a different way. I may have to learn I maybe have to learn some different plays. You can't keep running straight up the middle all the time. You gotta find out. You might gotta run to the sideline, but you gotta learn these things and you gotta be invested. But if I just say, man, it's getting hard for me to do this and I can't do this, then okay, but now it's time to seek some professional help or talking to the right friends, somebody that's going to be real with you, like we're having this conversation now.
So you alluded to this earlier, the idea that when your wife suggested like, hey, go and do what you want to do, that people only step out because they want to, or because they're looking for a way out. I found that interesting because when people cheat, when people have affairs, there is a couple of ideas there, especially around sex, that you weren't doing what you were supposed to do. So therefore, that is my excuse, pointing back to what you said, we're looking for excuses. That is my excuse to go cheat because you weren't doing X. Right. How does that connect to your view in marriage?
Okay, so I'm starting myself. I'm not crazy enough to believe that I'm doing everything that pleases my wife. Just in totality, whether you want to say sex or just being a husband.
Do you think, I'm gonna pause right? Do you think most men believe, and I know you don't speak for all men, I know you don't.
No, this is good.
But do you, because I sometimes I think that a lot of men believe that they are capable of doing everything that needs to be done to please their wife.
Now, are we talking sexually or are we just talking marriage period?
I want to say
because I want to address them specifically.
Okay, so I want to say across the board because in a woman's mind, like when you've taken care of everything else, spiritually, emotionally, the sex comes easy.
Oh, beautiful! So you answered it. You answered it, asking the question. Sex comes after the fulfillment of the intimacy and the emotional. Man, you would be crazy to think that you were the best thing that your wife ever had. Why are you even trying to be concerned about that? And who you think was her best probably was not the one. Because there's all sorts of physical, emotional, and spiritual attachments that make that situation right. You say, how do you know that? I say that because then when you get mad with that person and you're on the outs with that person, sex ain't the same no more. But it's the same person that used to rock your world. But the emotional attachment and everything, and we lose that. So no, I would never think that I was my wife's best. And she has never told me that she thought that that she was my best, because we didn't get into marriage to be each other's best, but we got into marriage to work together, to please each other, to fulfill those duties that we have to each other.
So in that moment, I understand why you were upset, right?
Very. Let me explain to you a little bit more why I was very okay. I'm on my second marriage. I've been married a total of 24 years, all together. Do you know that my first wife presented me with the same situation? I was so peeved. Yes, I was so peeved. Just like we never, at that point when we were together, we never, listen, we were always a close-knit family. I say this, my wife now knows it. We've always been a loving family. And when those conversations started going on, because she was going through something, even medically, you didn't give me the opportunity. You checked out before you checked with me. And here I am now. My new wife is telling me the same thing. I'm bugging. I'm like, yo, now I'm having this, now I'm having this conversation with God. God, like, why you keep putting me in these situations? Like, who am I? Why you keep thinking I can handle these things? But then he says to me, he was like, because you doing what you're supposed to do. Do I have flaws? Have I had flaws? Yeah. Have I been turned on by seeing other women when, I'm not getting something at home? Yes. I'm just like the next man, but I'm going to be real about it. You see what I'm saying? But guess what? I know not to transgress the bounds. Have I played it close to the ropes? I have played it many times close to the rope. And I'm telling you this now. Let me talk about them titles. I'm going to talk about it as a pastor. I'm going to talk about it as an actor. I'm going to talk about it as a loving husband, loves his wife, loves children. I'm just telling you that I'm out here in this world naked every day that I leave. And if you're not covering me, then you force me to look for cover. Just like if I don't cover you, I force you to look for cover. And these are the conversations that we're not having.
Because that's the fear, Aqeel. That's the fear, because I know that I cannot give you this thing that very clearly you desire, whether you are aware of it or not, or whether you fight it or not, you still have that desire. Like it's something as simple as if you're hungry, if I fed you at home, you're not looking. Naturally, you're not looking for.
Isn't that so simple? Isn't that so simple?
But when you know you cannot feed your man what he likes.
Can I stop you right there?
Go ahead.
You just said. Watch this now. You said this is not your man speaking. This is you saying. You said when you know that you can't feed. Let's just stop there. We don't even want to go what he wants. This is it. When you know, how do you know you can't feed him?
Because he
see. You just went back to you. I said, how do you know that you can't feed him? And you says, because how did you know? Did you check with your man?
No, Aqeel. So this is what I'm thinking. Like, if our routine, you know your man.
That's
right?
another problem. That's another problem. Go ahead. We'll come back to that.
But it's like, you know your man. You know what your man likes.
How do you know that? How do you know that?
Because you've had conversations with him, and because you guys have done it before. You guys have a history of having this type of sex, or
so. Let me ask you this. Do you still like the same foods that you liked when you were younger?
I don't.
Whoa!
But I'm still hungry.
But I've been your friend for life. But I've been your friend for life, and you've always liked chocolate ice cream. Now I got you chocolate ice cream, and I done bought you gallons. And you're like, I don't really be dealing with chocolate like that now. It's like, I'm so tired of eating it. Now I get the flurries, and I add a little. It's like, but I thought you liked chocolate. Like, now I'm beating my head up because I'm like, my woman has changed on me. And it's like,
I say this, so I'll say this. So I'm limiting because I get what you're getting at. I'm limiting the idea of sex, right?
Right.
In terms of what whomever you're with desires. And what you're challenging me and what you're challenging the listeners to is like, because things have changed.
Mm-hmm. And they're supposed to.
Yes. We together as a couple are strong enough. The love we have for each other. Yeah. And just because humans are layered and humans are creative and we can do whatever, like it's unimaginable what can really happen in between two people.
When you're intentional.
Yes. So instead of making these assumptions, instead of
come on now. Come on, say it. Now we're talking. Let's go. Instead of making assumptions.
Instead of making these assumptions, but you got to understand, though. I need you to understand what
why do I have to see? That's another thing. Why do I have to understand something that I don't understand?
No,
help me understand. Help me understand.
I say that because so much is wrapped up into, I believe, how women can easily make that decision. Okay, I can see myself coming to that decision, right?
But see, listen, can we see? I don't see, and this is the point. I think we sort of you just said a whole lot, so we can't go too far in it without addressing those small points. It's like knowing what you said. again, knowing what you know, there's an expectation that you're living with that your man didn't give you. It's because you're built on the persona or the expectation of what other people or what other men are. This is your husband. He's unique. This is your man. He's unique. Every man is unique. Every woman is unique. You understand what I'm saying?
I get that. I get that. But I still believe that there is a history, right? So like if you know Cameo likes flowers every Friday, and for whatever reason you can't get her flowers anymore.
So what do you do? What is something else that she likes?
But no, listen, I'm giving that example to get to the thought of there is going to be a deficit there, because I know that's the thing that gets Cameo going, that makes Cameo feel loved. I understand that there's going to be a deficit there. So I don't want her to look, I don't want Mr. Jamal at work giving her flowers.
Because Jamal, she called your name. All right, go ahead. I'm just asking, but right. So can I tell you, let me tell you some, so from out of my experience, watch this. When I worked at a prison, I heard all of these stories. We get them in training. How these prisoners are bagging married women. I said, ain't no married woman having sex with no prisoner. You are not about to tell me that no married woman that's out here in the freedom got everything she wants, her husband spoiling her to death and doing all of this, and she's having sex with a prisoner that probably got 30 cents on the book. He's in there for some of everything, and she's having sex. I refuse to believe it. And then I saw it. And I'm blown, and I saw it again. And I saw it again and again. Wait a minute. And then you start realizing when you get a chance to talk and you hear the backstory to this, her man never complimented her at home. He didn't notice those little things. He didn't do this. He didn't keep speaking into her life. When you work, you spend most of your time at work than you do home. Prisoner or not, this is what we miss. He's still a man. She's still a woman. He's had plenty of time because he sees you every day. Listen to what I'm saying now. This is a balanced approach. Because he sees you every day, he's able to notice it. He watches what you wear. He sees your favorite color because you're around him more. When you leave home, you dress up. When you're home, you dress down. And so now you go to work and somebody's saying, oh, those are some nice earrings, Miss King. Okay, that's you're speaking the prison guard talk. He's like, okay, that's out of line. I don't need to hear all that. It's like, no, Miss King, I was honestly just complimenting you. Like, oh, I noticed you wear that red lipstick every Thursday. See, they're telling you things. And though you're fighting it, subliminally is working in your mind to say like, wow, this guy notices everything about me. And then before long, he's worked the system. And so what I'm saying to you is this. I'm not saying that it made it right that she did that because she wasn't getting complimented at home. But we also don't know what life she presented at home. So can I'm gonna let you ask your next question then, but because there's scriptures to support this stuff too.
No. I think we're on the same page. Mm-hmm. I'm not discounting either side.
Yeah, you can't. I think that's the biggest mistake we make.
Yeah. And so like even with all of this being said, mm-hmm. Because I think we still live in a very sex-driven society.
Listen, women have to stop fooling themselves and think that men just want sex. No, your man want to feel good like you. Your man love can I just be real with you? Your man loves just laying in bed and just feeling your warm thigh on his. He loves feeling like a king. He feel like, whoo, boy, that's a good feeling right there. And you never have sex that whole night. Man, just to come in, just to rub your man back, just to say, baby, something as simple as that. But women have been taught that all men want is just sex. And so now I'm not telling you that your man doesn't want sex.
So we're talking a lot about sex in marriage, and how it affects and how you should communicate, and some of the tension, where the tension lies, obviously communication. So let's take this a couple steps backwards. How do you talk about sex pre-marriage? What questions do you ask, especially those uncomfortable questions?
You know mine. you already know where I'm at with it. I'm like, this is the one that everybody hates. I think that we need to discuss our past sex lives. Everybody says, go ahead. Yeah.
Because it's so funny.
Uh-huh.
Because I had a conversation with my cousins about this, about if it matters who you slept with beforehand. And I was saying, I think I'm curious. It's more so me just knowing my husband, less about, but also don't put me in no crazy situation when we going out and I know you slept with that girl and I don't know.
Come on, right? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Don't have
me sitting up in here, bro, being funny, talking about what's up, my brother, and like, I just noticed that. What's going on? You like, because you can't hide that. You can't hide that. You might think you hit it, and I'm like, I got elephant memory. I'd be like, we be like 5 months later. I'd be like, but a night we was you'd be like, huh? What? It's like, yeah, I noticed old boy.
So
head twitched.
So those questions, so your perspective is you really need to ask those questions. What have you done and who have you been with?
Listen, I need to know. I consider it hardball, unhealthy, or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna tell you that I found it very valuable because here's some things we're talking about. Listen, the chances of you probably have reached a number that you've lost track of. Especially for us that have been to college and you get off from home and you've been with some of everybody and tried to do things, met other people, and it's just being real about it. And so, like, let me know what's going on, because let's be for real. If we're out here now and this is pre-marriage and we out here doing our little thing, and now we're talking about being together. Come on, I'm not the first little wild thing that you did. You see what I'm saying? So let's talk about it. So like, you like sex? Yeah, you? Yeah. How important is sex to you? Like, well, it's like, so what are you saying? You've been with like what? 2 guys? Like, so what did y'all do? What do you mean we have sex? Nah. So you know what I mean.
In terms of why does this matter, right? Why do the details? I don't think you're asking like for the nitty gritty details, but
yeah, I am. Yeah. Oh, well, back up. Yes, I am.
Oh,
but watch this now. See, and it's good that we're ending with this because that was a start. Because now I want to know why you tripping over when I'm asking you things. Like, wait a minute. Like,
yeah.
Sometimes you get scarred from that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. But then you say, when we fall into these arguments, these are the first things you say. Don't, it's not for me. It's like, well, don't judge me on my, you always bringing up my past. You always bring up past. No, I'm not. You're giving me your past. The stuff that you hung up on is because of the things you engaged in before. And now you're bringing it into this marriage. I'm like, I'm your husband. Why can't I ask you for that? And it's like, now you don't want to, now you're like, because I told you I don't like that. But wait a minute. Hold on. Why? When did you stop? How do you know you don't like it? That must have mean you've been there before. A couple of times.
And the expectation. Whether we want to believe it or not, like, we're still going to compare some of our best sexual experiences to the person we love. And I don't think it's to like necessarily like I'm going to be better than that person.
Right.
But it gives you an idea of what I'm working with.
He likes this. She likes that.
Or something. Yeah. I also think that there's a learning between two people, because when how me and him work ain't the same way how me and him work.
No. I hate when you don't have transition. I'm just probably going a little bit further than I should. You let me know. But if you here's another thing. I need to know who you've been with, like just like whatever, because if you're used to going into a situation, you're not being used to transitioning. You've been more directorial. Like, so you know what I'm saying, you with a guy and you trying to please him and whatnot. Now he got you doing tricks with other dudes, and this now I'm understanding why you may be, or a couple is understanding why these types of situations has been brought into. Like, why we need somebody else in here? Like, what are we not? Why we don't? We're not doing enough with ourselves. Where's the spontaneity at? So, here you are, you in this situation, but that situation, and it's crazy, but when you get with somebody else that's been in that situation, you notice how those two people have a good time talking about those things they used to do. They laugh and joke about it, like, oh man, whoo, girl, I remember when I was, or dog, I remember, like, yo. And it's like, but you ain't in that situation now, but you struggling over the same situation in your marriage. Why don't you have that excitement in your marriage?
Yeah.
So what you're doing is, it's not even subliminally. You're actually forcing me to live with issues of your past. But when I bring them up and I tell you this, then you say, well, don't judge me by my past. See, this is why. No, I'm telling you that if you don't want me to judge it by, then you can't stay there.
Yeah.
So those are the times when I say, now you need to have professional counseling. So you have to be intentional about it. Like, what are we going to do in order to make this thing last? And we don't want to put forth that work. We just think that our husband or wife should be understanding. And then how long am I supposed to go without? What I realized when I got older and talking with older men, we ain't trying to have sex all the time either. We tired too. We got headaches too. I'm probably thinking about something else and it's just like, whew. And sometimes, you like, oh God, I think she about to, I think she, and like, and we do, we men and women, if they're serious about it, you sabotage early in the day. You know how they talk about setting the love frequencies early in the day, call her up, and then so by the time you get home, you ain't got to say now. You already know it's on and popping. Boy, we've been waiting all day. And we don't do enough of that. That's what I'm saying. We don't have no intimacy.
Yeah. So last question I have for you. What is true? What is true about loving someone in marriage?
Everything that we've talked about. I just think that we have to have not just open. I used to say open conversations, but now we have to have open and honest conversation. Whatever the matters is, whatever the hangups are, whatever the good things are, we just have to learn to communicate in a real way. I know for me, I love talking. I'm a talker. And I was asking this the other day. Matter of fact, I was with my fraternity brothers of Omega Psi Phi. I won't call names, but I'm just saying it's funny how brothers.
The wholesome brothers.
The wholesome brothers. We the good brothers. We the good brothers. You need a good man. Seek the men of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
The devil is a lie. I'm just
Don't believe what the mother folks telling you. Yeah. It takes one to know one. No. So, but it's amazing that here we are, brothers of all ages, and we're really sitting here saying, man, we're still learning about marriage. It's like, I thought I was, one brother said, man, I thought I was good at listening. He said, but I wasn't. I'm learning now. Like, wow, that ain't what I heard. I wasn't listening like that. Another brother is saying, like, he's like me. He's like, man, see, I love to talk. It's like, but when you have a wife that doesn't like to talk, that's a hardness. It's like, but we'll come and talk about other people more, and I can't stand it. I don't want to be talking about more people. I want to talk about us. I can talk about us every day, every second of the day. Like, oh, so what can we do to make things better? It's like, whew, if you don't want to talk, then it's like, are we bettering ourselves, or are we trying to better other people? And so I'm conscious about getting caught up in the world. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That I forget my priority, and I'm your friend will tell you I'm big on family, and it's like priority is my wife and my family. I go hard at everything, but my first duty is to my wife and to my family. So I have to make, regardless of how I feel or feel like what she's not giving to giving, man, I'm trying to teach myself and still teaching myself daily is that, you don't get to slack up just because you're not getting what you think you should get or because you're upset, and it's like, really, God, I still got to honor this vow now. You should just piss me off. Like, it's like, yes, son, you don't get to slack up just because she's not, because you think she's not doing what she should be doing. That's the perfect way to say that. And so, and then for the wife, it's the same thing, and if we would honor our marriages more with that, and then you can't listen. And then if you haven't done something, you can't do something one time and just think that, oh, they should be so all over the board about it now. Because it's like, and then you go back to the mundane. So we just got to be careful about complacency, comfort and complacency.
Yeah. So I did have one more question.
Yes, sure.
Then we'll be done.
I'm good for another 2-3 hours. This is lovely. Yeah.
Just one more question.
Don't fix it up. Just say it.
My questions can be long-winded, so
That's fine.
Them. How long? I think that is the question a lot of married folks ask. How long do I deal with this? He's not doing what I need to be done. I done told him 12 ways times 50, upside, left side, right side. And I am sitting here
dying.
Satisfied. Right?
I'm dying. I'll say it for you. I'm dying. Like, when is it? I've asked that question. You asked that question. So, with my wife and I, just being transparent, we've asked that. And I said, so how long am I supposed to wait? She said, well, go do what you got to do. I'm like, that ain't the answer. It's not what I ask you. Because, see, that's easy. Listen, for me to go outside my marriage is so much easier. That's that. I like you said, I ain't get that a dime a dozen. I ain't got to go far. I can put on my little slippers and do that. That's easy. But we always choose the easier route. So we're not going to put in any work, is what you're saying. We're not going to work on our marriage. So how long? I'm up at night asking myself that all the time. Whatever she's dealing with, I'm sure she's asking it, Lord. And I know she's prayed about different things, and she says, I don't know. I believe that's the real answer. I believe it's the real answer that she doesn't know. And I respect that. Yeah. And I'm not saying that I don't respect, and I tell her, listen, but, I'm throwing up hints. I'm doing this. And if I've said this, and right now I'm not even speaking just for us. This is a totality of a lot of situations. I'm just talking about men and women too. It's like, and I say, it's like, well, Pastor, how long should I wait? I'm like, until you feel you can't wait no more. I mean, there's no right answer to tell you. Listen, I can't tell you how long you should wait. I would just tell you to keep talking, keep working on it. Try this, try that. It's going to seem like you all tapped out. But when you get to that point, keep going. Keep going. I'm sure there's some changes my wife would want to see in me. And, but I'm trying to say it. I like to speak on the particulars. And so if I'm asking you, not so much just to change, but for your understanding, I want to see that we're growing. Because a lot of people, I even experienced this in my first marriage, just like when you're steady looking at somebody for change, you better make sure that you're growing yourself. Because a lot of times we're not. We want other people to change, but they're not growing, And then you can't be a person that has a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? You have a lot of not necessarily standards, but you have a lot of pet peeves. But you ain't fulfilling no pet peeves. And we have to be conscious of that. I can't say the best advice I have for people that are unmarried, but I would say one clear advice is to be true about this thing. Understand that one day you're going to be in this marriage. So, if someone like yourself, don't fool. And I said this at that conversation the other night. It says, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. It's not a cliche. It's real. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. I'm plenty sure when you're doing plenty of interviews, men are sitting up here like, oh my God, Cameo King is the most beautifulest woman ever. Somebody else may not think Cameo is the most beautiful woman, but that doesn't matter. It's what does Cameo feel about herself? Mm-hmm. And I had to remind myself that too. I'm not the most handsome man when I walk in a room. I'm able to admit that, but I'm not there to be the most handsome man in the room. I'm there to be Aqeel. Mm-hmm. I think that's where real beauty lies. That's what we call the pulchritude. And even when we're talking about Jesus, it's like the pulchritude of Jesus is the beauty, but it's not just the beauty and just looks. It's in the totality. And that's when we start looking at our marriage with that type of pulchritude, like It's all of this, sweetheart. It's the way you cook. I know when you're cooking with love. I know when you're cooking in anger because the food just doesn't taste the same. I just, my wife, I have just these different things. Like I was just telling her the other day, I said, girl, it's just something about when you wear your hair like that. I said, I'm just telling you. Can I go ahead on? Because I'm like, okay, ain't trying to start no trouble. And I'm just like, and then she did it maybe the next day or another day. And I'm saying to myself, she already know what she's doing. And so listen to those things. Listen to those things. Me and your wife might find it sexy. You out there pushing the lawnmower. She's just sitting back looking like, look at that man push that lawnmower. But that's her.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be what Cameo likes. You see what I'm saying? So be conscious, and before you get married, really have these conversations. Yeah. And be careful. If people are scared to have these conversations, what else are they hiding?
All right. Well, Aqeel, I appreciate your level of transparency. I appreciate what you have shared, and I'm just excited to hear feedback on the show. I'm excited for the growth. I'm excited for the healing from this conversation.
Yeah. I just want to say again, I don't hold all the answers. What I'm giving you is just merely off my experiences. I pray that what I've done is I've given a balance of answers from the men and women's side. I know people will say, but you're not a woman, so you can't speak on that. And it's like, I beg to differ. I don't think that you have to be a drunk to know it's not wise to be drunk. I don't think that you have to have been raped to understand a person that's been raped. I don't think that you have to, been a drug child to know that drugs are not good for you. So I'm simply here and I'm praying that my transparency is one that is a ministry to somebody, that it would open up other marriages to having some real talk. And we're still growing. People tell my wife and us all the time, when we get with them and talk, they just look at us like, y'all are crazy. Y'all really be saying this to each other? Y'all really be talking about this stuff? And we like, yeah, we do. It ain't always easy, I can tell you that. But it's enough. And it does help to just say, I just want you to know, you follow back up. The follow-up is amazing too. But you can't rest at the follow-up. But it does feel good for somebody just to come back and say, I just want you to know that, and tell them face-to-face. Don't do texts.
Yeah.
No, just tell them face-to-face. It goes over so much better, no matter how hard it is. But it just so much better. Just I want you to know, for your man to say, Cameo, may not be saying this in the best way, but I want you to know that I not only listened to what you said the other day, but I heard what you said. And I'm really looking into it, and I'm working on me. And that's the best thing we can do, work on each other. We can't change each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, that's so real. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for being on the Good Girl Podcast.
Yes, thank you.
And thank you all for listening. This is the Good Girl Podcast.
God bless.